They are the longest running sponsor here on the 1012 podcast and of the 1012 network as a whole. And from time to time, we like to get them on the show. It's been way too long since our good friend Connor Hitchcock has been here on the 1012. Connor, welcome back, sir.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, Philip. Always well, one, just love what you guys do, and two, always fun to be back. It's been too long.
I think it's been 2 years. I don't know how that's happened. Like, I feel like we don't want to get him on too often. I don't want to bother Connor because I know they're crazy busy over there in Indianapolis with the everything that's going on. But it's been too long, my friend.
Yes, yeah, glad to be doing this.
A lot has changed in the last 2 years. I mean, let's start with what's going on with Homefield right now.
Mhm.
Obviously, Big New Saturday was kind of the thing that helped build this brand at Homefield. That's the thing that people got excited for. They released schools are coming out. It was a huge thing during football season. You did it during March Madness last year during basketball. Sorry, third month mayhem. Pardon me,
There we go.
NCAA, CBS. Don't come after me. But you guys have brought that to an end, and the shift now has been these limited runs, which I think have been really exciting. We've seen what has come out for Kansas and Iowa State among Big 12 schools, and the other schools that have come out as well. I know we've got USC and UCLA, much to the Pac-10 fans' chagrin this week, as well as Missouri and Colorado last week. What went into the mindset of bringing Big New Saturday to an end, and then kind of this new way of going about things now with these limited releases?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So for those who don't know, Big News Saturday was a launch strategy for Homefield. A school that we didn't have, we weren't licensed yet for. When we get their license, it'd typically be a Power Five school or a bigger group of five school. We would launch a new school every Saturday at noon Eastern. And it'd be a really fun party online all week, basically, where we'd announce, hey, we're about to launch TCU. And then all of a sudden, for a week, which is a bunch of TCU jokes on the timeline, interacting with TCU fan base, leaving people to kind of guess what mascots would be involved, digging up just fun old photos, maybe the Horned Frog in the 50s where it looked a little different. And then, yeah, Saturday at noon Eastern, we launched a collection and it'd be a blast. And so we did that so many times. And I think the final count was we did Big News Saturday 60 times. And it was great. And we debuted a ton of schools. Part of it is that we have very few Power Five schools left to debut. And not necessarily that the school has to be a Power Five for Big News Saturday, but the way it was set up, we had realized that Big News Saturday had run its course, and a lot of effort goes into a Big News Saturday. It would be about 15 or 16 pieces per collection, which is a ton of work. You see it show up on your computer screen on Twitter on a Saturday morning, and it's just all right there. But every piece of apparel takes so much time and energy that only multiplies as we get bigger. And so that was one piece, we felt kind of BNS had run its course. And then also, because of that time commitment for these massive collections, when we first debuted them, they're, schools we'd had on the website for a couple of years, like in Iowa State, who's been on Homefield since 2019, wasn't getting as much attention and love. And so our pivot this year to many more schools getting refresh collections, about 8-piece collections. They're limited run drops, available for 4 or 5 days at a time. But positioning there allows us to do more schools. So, we've hired up on our design team and marketing team to be able to scale and meet that demand so that hopefully, I think we charted like 90% of our sales or like our customers will get a refresh this year for a team they cheer for, which is, the goal is that we're always providing something new for our people. It's in our minds, we think, wow, we launched 15 pieces for you guys like a year ago. That's a lot. But in your minds, you're thinking, that's great. I bought all I wanted to buy. I haven't had anything new to buy in a year. Like, come on. So, we get that attention. So that's why we moved to this model now, where we're able to update the collections more for the majority of our fan bases. And we're still adding new schools. I mean, if your school isn't on the website, I promise you, we're still working very hard or have it on the calendar already. So it's just, all this takes a lot of time because what we do is, our core word is thoughtful in the design and how we make things. And we're not just going to throw something on a t-shirt just to make a few extra bucks. So Yeah, that's my long-winded answer as to why we transitioned.
I mean, thoughtful makes sense. You guys put out some incredible stuff, and you can tell the attention and time and research that goes into each collection. I mean, you mentioned TCU. I have two TCU shirts, and one of them is, of course, a horned frog in a pimp coat waving a pennant, which is always a popular design of any mascot.
Mhm.
Like there is some really old school stuff in there, and you could say that for, I mean, any school you guys are launching. There is a deep dive. Like I know that there were you. I know fans and occasion like reach out to you guys and like, hey, if you ever launch, or hey, if you're gonna add this, and we'll send you guys things that they think would look really cool. And I see stuff get tagged with, "Hey, Homefield, you should put this on a shirt." I occasionally do it all the time. So I mean, like, it's super cool. Not just that you guys do such a great job, but you have that level of engagement of fans who are like, "We would love to see this. We can't wait to see this. We can't wait to see what's next." Like, it's insane. You guys are called the good brand for a reason.
No, I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun to be able to interact with customers like that, right? I mean, part of the refresh collection this year, we added new product types. We added a fleece quarter zip, we added a ringer, we added joggers, we added kids tees, and a few other collections, or a few other items. And that's because we took a survey last year, late Q1, early Q2, can't remember exactly, sent it up to our top 5% of customers, people who bought the most, and said, "What do you want next?" And then we went in order of what people want next. It's pretty easy. If you ask people what they want and then provide what they want, turns out they'll buy it. And so, we love interacting with people in that way, right? And we don't always want to presume like, oh, we know exactly what people want. At the same time, we have a brand of craft, right? If we had only offered things that had previously been offered that people were asking for, and we wouldn't exist as a brand. So we have to find a way to craft our own brand and story while also, understanding what's out there, and in terms of what people want, right? So we love all the suggestions, because at the same time, there's only gonna be so many, as much research as we can do. A Marshall fan reaching out to us and saying in our DMs, be like, "Hey, found this in my grandma's attic, from the 70s." There's only so much we can do on the internet. Whereas, if we can see the way some that folks even wore a t-shirt back then, right? Like the way a logo was incorporated. It's one thing to see a logo, it's another thing to see the correct context of it. So, I'll see, for myself as an Indiana fan, I've seen brands that just grab logos off of the Indiana vintage art sheet and they'll put the oval logo on something and then they'll try to sell it for basketball, not understanding that the oval was a football only mark, right? Like stuff like that upsets me. And I'm a diehard fan. So I imagine that experience is multiplied to 150 fan bases we do service. So that's why we have to listen, right? We have to make sure we're thoughtful with it.
Yeah, this stuff matters a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I've always been curious. We all know the marquee Power Five brands. You guys, when you were doing Big News Saturday, would run the contest to see who could sell the most on that 1st Saturday. And West Virginia killed it. Kansas State was insane. They did so well.
Yeah.
But a lot of home field people, and I know a lot of the national people, talk often about our split zone duo, Matt Brown, the people who also talk about home field, whether they're paid to or not. Have shirts for many schools. I've got quite a few Big 12. I've got I've got the Rock in the pen coat with the pennant.
Slippery Rock.
Slippery Rock. Gosh, thank you. Like, I've got a few things as well. What's the one brand you think has been bought by the most non-fans of that school?
Slippery Rock for sure. I mean, the name alone, Slippery Rock. We we were pretty strategic with getting licensed for Slippery Rock. We wanted to show Michigan that we could sell t-shirts. And beyond loving Slippery Rock, at every Michigan home football game, they announce the Slippery Rock score. And it's a tradition going back decades. And I forget the exact reason as the origination. Krista, my co-founder and wife, who grew up in a huge Michigan household with her dad playing there, she knows. But, so that was a fun one to do. UC Irvine is a really popular one for people who didn't attend. There's a shirt where there's an anteater surfing. It's a surf stuff UC Irvine. Robin Lopez, Brooke Lopez of the NBA is obsessed with that shirt. He bought like 10 of them one time. He just keeps buying that shirt. It's very funny. Trying to see what other schools. When Loyola makes their tournament runs, we tend to get a good amount of those because we have a very cartoon looking wolf. Trying to think beyond UC Irvine's Slippery Rock. Oh man.
How high
I
is
think
Tulane?
Providence is about to be one
Really?
with the Friar playing basketball.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's so
that
good.
we just dropped them last week. SLU, St. Louis, with the Billiken. There's a ton of what I presume are non-grads based on, they have an ardent fan base, but the Billiken's wild. St. Peter's was huge. Our top two. So we dropped St. Peter's last year during the tournament after they won the round of 32. And then we had a second life with it when they beat Purdue. In the top two states that bought St. Peter's gear, based in New Jersey, were Indiana and Kentucky, because that was a ton of spite buying by the Louisville and then Indiana fans because they beat Kentucky and Purdue. That was very funny. So yeah, St. Peter's is for sure up there. And yeah, Youngstown State, those
fans
fun
are
ones.
awesome. Fans
Yeah.
are just so good.
College fans are the best.
Next poll you need to send out is, how many of you have spite bought a shirt for after a team beat your opponent just for fun?
That's incredible. I was in a bar in Indianapolis where I live, and being an Indiana grad, I wasn't like hate watching Purdue. I don't hate watch Purdue, but I mean, if they lose, I think it is pretty funny at times, if I'm being honest, as an Indiana grad in that fashion. And I just remember I was in a bar with all Purdue people. I didn't think there was a chance in hell that St. Peter's is going to pull it off. So then I'm like on my phone in the corner on the Homefield account, like tweeting out like these St. Peter's links, and everything's blowing up. I'm just around the saddest people in the world in this bar. It was pretty funny. I had another moment like that this year when sometimes when there's a big upset, we'll also launch a shirt in football. And so I had a friend offer me some tickets. I'm not a fan, but I just wanted to go to a Notre Dame home game this year, and it was the Marshall game. And so I had to launch from my phone. Like Chris and I were taking turns going to get better service when it was evident Marshall was going to win, setting up a product on our phones. And then we launched it in the concourse of Notre Dame Stadium as like time expired. It was pretty funny.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously the St. Peter's one last year was so cool. You guys got that turned around in like 24 hours after that first upset came off. And that was incredible. So we're getting close. It's almost March. When this goes up, I think it's March 1st. What do you guys plan for? You guys called it Third Month Madness last year. That's what we correct the joke. What's kind of the plan for you guys for the tournament this year?
Yeah, so we're running back, as you alluded to, getting around some, making sure we don't get cease and desisted. Third Month Mania this year, and so we're starting it on March 2nd, so Thursday. Running it for about 2 weeks. Special deals, whether it's sales on specific basketball items, new product drops. So we're actually debuting a couple more bomber jackets, one of which is a Big 12 school that will be dropped here. There's lavender in the mix. That's all I'll say for that Big 12 school. And, we have a couple other products. So if you saw a few weeks ago, we dropped an Indiana hat. There are more hats on the way. So, unique product drops, sales. And then it culminates on Selection Sunday with a subscription that we're doing this year. So our mystery boxes have been very popular. To your point, a lot of people like to buy products for schools they didn't go to. A lot of people also like to be surprised because I think they're overwhelmed by the 2,000 products or whatever on our website. And so we from time to time, we offer mystery box subscriptions or mystery boxes where people buy something at a reduced price. You get what you get, even if it's your rival. Sorry. But we are doing one for the tournament where it's a subscription, and we'll send you a shirt for each round of the tournament. And that team is the one you're supposed to cheer for that round of the tournament. So you buy a subscription. We'll send you a package for the round of 64 and 32 because that's obviously over the weekend. There's no weekend deliveries. And so you might get a Gonzaga shirt to cheer for Gonzaga in the men's tournament, and you might get USC shirt or South Carolina shirt to cheer for the South Carolina women's team in the tournament, right? Something like that. I mean, we have over 95 schools identified to be able to be sent out in this subscription box. So that's something new that we're trying this March, to give people rooting interest in the tournament, or be able to wear a really relevant shirt when you go to a March Madness watch party or something like that.
Okay, so how much are the subscriptions going to be?
Subscription, they're going to be same as they are for the Big News Saturday subscription. So it's $20 per shirt. Normally it's $34 a shirt. And so you'll be charged 3 times because it's 2 shirts per weekend, right? Round of 64 and 32 are back to back. So that'd be $45 because of the shipping in 3 increments for 6 shirts. So the 6th shirt is actually because for the national championship, the 6th shirt is an exclusive shirt that we designed. That's only available through the subscription. So,
ooh,
yeah,
okay, that's a T. Between that and a bomber jacket, very exciting. Like, I collect hats, and I had the Indiana hat. I did not buy it. Just gonna be honest. If you start launching Big 12 hats, we're gonna have a problem, sir. Like,
yeah, I'm sure there's something right now that you can't tell me that.
Oh, okay. We will not be using this video on YouTube.
No, you can. I don't care. It's fine.
Okay,
I'm wearing a Northwestern shirt today on the day of an Indiana game. It's fine.
I had my Pistol Patty shirt on last night. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. Yep. Speaking of that, you mentioned shirts for the women's basketball tournament. Mm-hmm. I've got my Pistol Patty. You guys do a good job of being sure to not just cover apparel for college athletics and school specific. Like, you guys do a good job of having women's sports specific apparel. I mean, the Baylor women's basketball shirt there. You had the softball championship for Oklahoma last year. As mentioned, there's 2 Pistol Patty shirts for Oklahoma State fans that were both incredible. Like, is that just the schools ask for those things, or is there an actual forethought in making sure you have things to represent women's athletics?
Yeah, I mean, look, we want to represent the school and the entirety of the school, right? And so many of these women's athletic programs have been overlooked for so long, for a variety of reasons. One, just not existing, in a lot of cases until Title IX came around, and gave more opportunities for women to play sports in college. And so, it's been underserved in general, and there's been less years of focus on it. And so now I think women's basketball in particular has grown in terms of national interest, getting attention on ESPN. Even last Sunday, the game was brutal, but my Indiana Hoosiers went to Iowa City and played a thriller. It was primetime ESPN, College Game Day was there. And Caitlin Clark unfortunately hit a ridiculous buzzer beater after we went up 2 with 1 second to go. But, into that regard, not only is it something that we feel like it's been ignored by most people and still a lot of brands, astonishingly, but it's also just great business because it's an untapped market. I mean, we made a shirt for Indiana's basketball team, which they're having a historic season. They're going to be a 1 seed. They've lost only twice this year, literally might win the national championship. Made a Big Ten champs shirt the other day. It's been our best selling shirt this year outside of the Georgia national championship in football. And, look, we're Indiana Hoosiers brand, but still to that end, it's a really underserved market. And we care about women's sports. So we watch women's sports at Homefield a lot. And so we want to celebrate that part of the school. We talk about being thoughtful, How could we have ever done a Northwestern collection without talking about their women's lacrosse program, which is just a wagon, right? So yeah, it's an initiative by us that we first and foremost care about and are looking to continually expand, how many women's sports teams we make apparel for. And then also, it sells. And at the end of the day, running a t-shirt business, you gotta make what sells.
If I can suggest a Pistol Patty softball shirt for the Cowgirls, I will do so. Just reach out to Oklahoma State. I have seen you mention Robin Lopez. We've seen celebrities and athletes wear Homefield apparel. Every time Homefield shows up on somebody covering college sports nationally, they get tagged. I am curious, who are the coaches you have seen or interact with the most that are just like super pro Homefield?
Jerome Tang is great. Another bone here for the K-State fans that listen to this Big 12 podcast. Jerome Tang has an active interest in Homefield, and we'll send him stuff a good bit, but it's not like his assistant that we're DMing with, because that's it most of the time. You're like DMing with someone who works for the program. It is Jerome Tang in the DM saying he like, hey, love that or this or whatever, and sending stuff to him. And he specifically requests lavender. So no K-State fans, that your coach is right in tune with the fan base. I was trying to think who else. Certain coaching staffs will get really into it. So ECU has gotten really into it because we sent Mike Houston a hoodie, the head coach at ECU.
Yeah.
And then all the coaching staff was super jealous. And so then they made it like they put money in thetheir budget to buy like 80 hoodies for the team for their bowl game. So yeah, ECU's been fun. We do have a shirt coming out with a coach here soon in collegiate sports. I'll leave that one a little bit to the imagination as to who that coach may be. Really excited about it. But yeah, we love working with those coaching staffs. Eric Musselman's great. He wears our shirts all the time,
Yes, he does.
The coach, it's really fun. Don Staley, actually. Oh my gosh, how could I forget? The legend Don Staley wears our stuff all the time. So yeah, it's just some coaches just, some will just want to wear the side one, they have to wear the sideline stuff on the sideline. But outside of that, some coaches just want to wear the more basic primary logo quarter zip, and that's cool. But the ones who want to try something a little different, they're always fun to work with, and we'll always send them stuff because we love seeing them in public. When Don Staley's like on a documentary wearing one of our South Carolina shirts, that's always really cool. So
no, that's super awesome. That's super neat to see. You guys are everywhere. We started this partnership back in 2020, if I recall correctly. And you guys had just Baylor and Iowa State. And I'd seen enough people talking about it, and this was such a cool opportunity for us, and love what you guys do, and to watch you grow and watch what you have become. There's not a bigger college sports apparel brand that seems to care as much as you guys do. Obviously there's, I don't mean to downgrade any Nike stuff. Fanatics has things that's all well and good.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone seems to put the thought and heart into college athletics because they love it so much, into the apparel that they design. You guys, obviously you don't have someone on staff who is a diehard fan of every program, but from what you guys put out, it sure as hell feels that way sometimes.
No, I appreciate that. And look, I can take that compliment because I have absolutely nothing to do with the design piece of it. But our team of designers, we invest a lot in designers in terms of, hiring a lot of them, because to be thoughtful, you can't be fast and thoughtful. You can try as much as you can, and they are really productive as a team. But they do a ton of research every Monday morning, whatever schools they're designing. Krista, my co-founder, my wife, and she's our creative director, so she oversees all the design. And so every Monday morning for 3 hours, whatever schools they're designing for that week, they have a whole meeting. Everybody has to bring a ton of research, like every designer, for the however many schools they're working on that week, and everybody talks through the concepts and where it's rooted in and all of that. It's a lot of pre-work before they even begin the design phase of it, actually mocking it up. So we do have some college sports nerds on the staff for sure, no doubt. We have some people who are just obsessed, and it's fun because it's different parts of college sports too, or different eras. So yeah, and then we have some people, some really high up other people at our company who do not know when games are going on, and that's perfect because they keep us grounded and balanced, and they can help us improve our operations, right? But when it comes to the design, yeah, they're really locked and loaded. And so we take a lot of pride in that. You mentioned other brands. Do want to shout out our friends. We're technically competitors, but not. But the 1909 guys do such a great job of that too. If I'm going to give an unsolicited comment or a compliment, they make college basketball shorts, and so like replica shorts of whatever year, and they really love college basketball as well. So it's a fun environment. I mean, I literally live a mile down the road from their CEO, and so we'll kick beers every once in a while and swap stories and all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, very few brands care about all of those details and making sure we get it right. Because look, if you come out, like, there's obviously, I feel like every year on Twitter there's some photo someone takes at a bookstore and it says something like Arizona State Wildcats, and you're just like, how does that happen, right? Like a t-shirt at some bookstore. And I know how it happens, because I know it's not someone doing it on purpose. There's like a whole, they're printing the same shirt for 150 schools, just swapping out the colors, which is the antithesis of what we do. And they're, the school name slider and the school nickname slider just got stuck, right? And somebody's printed a ton of but regardless, though, like, that's the exact opposite of what we aim to be, right? Like, it's annoying to have it wrong, or annoying for it not to feel thoughtful. And if you're sitting there listening to this podcast and thinking, Homefield, I don't like the designs for my school, it's probably because we're not allowed to go to a certain edge of thoughtfulness that we want to, and have to stick within parameters. But remember, it's never our fault. So no, all that to say, I appreciate the focus there on the thoughtfulness, because yeah, the team, they're incredible. And just really honored to get to work with them every day.
Well, I'm looking forward to what's coming out this month of March. Looking forward to the limited runs for the rest of the year, and see what other Big 12 schools, current and future, pop up. We got a long time before the end of 2023, so I'm very excited. Connor, as always, appreciate your time, man. Appreciate you guys being sponsors here on the podcast and for the network. We love what you do, and I think we share that passion that you have as well. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, love what you guys do. Love the focus on all schools, and not just the front running ones, but ones that everybody cares about. So yeah, really appreciate it, Philip. Thanks, man. Hey, someone's got to like UCF men's basketball. It has to. That's right. That's the low-hanging fruit. Okay. Connor, man, I promise we won't wait 2 more years. We'll get you on again soon, bud. Sounds great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.